All right, so now we're going to think like a calculator. To show you all these things that I've done and that I said I could teach you how to do, there's a couple things I want to show you. And we're going to start with this app on the iPad. It's called Whiteboard Pro. Let me make sure that it's, see, it works. It's just a little tricky. All right, so here we go. Everybody, take a look at this. I am going to write something down that you all did when you were about 9 years old. Our teacher made us write these 10 numbers across the page. And I'll never forget this day. It was in 4th grade. I was 9 years old. And our teacher wrote down 0 through 9. And I was not a good student. I was more of a troublemaker and bored and, just trying to fill the time. And for some reason, I stopped my teacher and I said, hey, wait a minute. Who picked those shapes? Why does the 4 look like that? Why does the 7 look, why does the 3 look like the 2? Who picked those shapes? Why did they pick those shapes? And my teacher looked at me like, wow, I've never even thought about that. I don't know the answer to that. She asked some math friends. They didn't know the answer to it. We started asking more people. Nobody could tell me the answer. I was like, how is it we're using these? And nobody can even tell me where they came from or why they look like they do. So it's taken me about 30 years. I've searched the world. And what I want to do is first introduce to you what I call Chapter 0. I believe it's the missing chapter in math. That if we would all learn what you're about to learn now first, it would give every kid on our planet a chance to really understand math. But we start off wrong. First off is look at how many numbers are up there. How many numbers did I write down? 10. Is there a 10 on there anywhere? No. So when you turn on a calculator, look at this calculator. How many buttons have numbers on that machine? There's 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no 10 on a calculator. But here's what we do to kids, and you guys have all done this your whole life, is we confuse people. Because here's what we do. The human body has 10 fingers, and we've all learned to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's indoctrinated in our brain. It is everywhere. And this is what's confusing us. Because when you turn on a calculator, it always starts at 0. The only reason a calculator works is because it starts at 0. So if you want to turn on your calculator, you have to start at 0. So watch this. 10 fingers, 10 digits. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's really 0 through 9. No magic. It's just thinking like a calculator. So everybody, please take your hands, put them up in the air. Shake out that 1 through 10. A bunch of crazy Romans did that to us. Close your fists. And now start with 0 on the first finger. You ready? 0. So now you're all thinking like a calculator, 0 through 9. So I can share with you the different things that happened to me that allowed me to have this sense of numbers, I guess. But look at the shapes up here. I asked my teacher where the shapes come from. They didn't know. I found the answer, I think. The inventors of this language were fighting the Roman numerals. The Roman numerals were the biggest number system in the world. The Roman Empire was managing the world, basically. And so Roman numerals were what were trusted. Your finances were done in Roman numerals. Everything in society was done in Roman numerals. They were trusted. This was like magic. This was this new invention, this new language of numbers. So nobody trusted them. So they were doing everything they could to make this as easy as possible to teach. They came up with a brilliant idea. The shapes were meant to be able to communicate to you the value of each shape by how many angles are in the shape. So they looked a little bit differently. The 0 is a circle. How many angles in a circle? 0. So when you look at that shape, you know there's a value of 0. The number 1 started out a little bit differently. It started like that. And this shape gives you 1 angle right there. So everybody knew that shape had a value of 1. The number 2 started out like our letter Z. And this shape gives you 2 angles. So everybody knew that shape had a value of 2. The number 3 started out like a hieroglyph, looked like that. This shape gives you 1, 2, 3 angles, 3 corners. So everybody knew that had a value of 3. The number 4 looked a little differently. It started out like this. And this shape gives you 1, 2, let me go back here. 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. See how that works? Pretty easy, right? I mean, it makes sense when you start to think about it. 5 was tough. They had to put a tail on it. This gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles, 5 corners. 6 was really easy. They just put a box on it. Looked like that. This shape will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners, 6 angles. And when I'm doing shows at schools, it's always funny because the kids don't care about anything until they get to 7. They're like, how are you going to get 7 angles out of that? But somebody really brilliant came up with this. They added 2 lines. This gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Isn't that so simple, right? But it would have taken me like centuries to figure that out. And now 8. 8 was the easiest one. It's just an hourglass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And 9 was the tough one. They called this one the Ugly Duckling. Looked pretty bad, but it got the job done. That's 9 angles right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So why don't we learn that in like 3rd grade? Everybody should know that. It just seems so cool. Like when I show this to students, they feel connected to numbers. They feel like they know something they didn't know before. It makes them feel like numbers, they can understand them better, might be their friend. So this is what was happening to me in 4th grade. Everybody got that? Cool? Easy, right? Okay. So now let's go back to the numbers again, 0 through 9. And now, same day, our teacher now wants us to write down these 10 numbers again. And this time we have to spell them. So in your head, spell each number, 0, Z-E-R-O, 1, O-N-E, and so on. What number up there, when you spell it, has the same number of letters as its number value? 4. 4 is spelled F-O-U-R. Maybe it's because I was in 4th grade. I was fascinated on the number 4 in 4th grade, maybe. But I was writing down these answers, and I noticed that 4 had 4 letters, and I was just so excited. I ran up to my teacher. I was like, this is incredible. 4 has 4 letters. And she's like, what's wrong with you, Scott? Who cares? The 4 has 4 letters. I said, it's really cool because no other number does that. 0 doesn't have 0 letters. 1 doesn't have 1 letter. 7 doesn't have 7 letters. The only number in English that has the same number of letters as its number value is the number 4. I was so intrigued by that, and that's what made me notice the next thing. Is take a look at the numbers up here. Which numbers up here, when you spell them, use 4 letters? Say it when you see them. I heard 5. What else? 0. That's the one people usually miss. There's another one. I heard it. 9. So we have 0, 4, 5, and 9 are all 4-letter words. And maybe you noticed how many numbers have 4 letters? 4. So I'm freaking out again. I run up to my teacher. I go, check this out. 4 numbers have 4 letters. She's like, who cares? What's the big deal? I said, this is the way, I mean, it makes sense because look, it splits your numbers. When you're doing it this way, watch where the 4-letter words end up. 0 through 4, 5 through 9. The 4-letter words are bookends on your fingers to help you remember to count from 0 to 4, 5 to 9. 10 has nothing to do with numbers, all right? Everybody cool? And then one other number. It's no big deal, but I have to bring it up because it was a really funny moment. My teacher, I was working on the number 7, and I was looking at the word spelled S-E-V-E-N. And I caught it right away. I don't know why. Maybe you guys still haven't noticed it, or you eventually did. But if you cross off the S, you end up with the word even. But 7 is an odd number. So I just walked up to my teacher. I said, who put the word even in an odd number? Why did you do that? And she's like, oh, I never noticed that before. No big deal. I was like, are you kidding me? This is a huge problem. We have to fix this immediately. And I didn't even sleep that night. I was so distraught over this. But it hit me the next day. We had to change 7 to sod. Try it one time. You're not liking it. That's okay. It's all right. It's probably not going to catch on. But and it would mess up my whole 4-letter word thing, so it's okay. But this is how I started thinking about numbers, and it was really challenging for my teachers because I was asking all these crazy questions. They didn't know where I was coming from next. But the next day is the day that changed my life. 4th grade, Mrs. Love's class, Herkimer, New York. I am in the back of the room where I always sat next to my best friend. Him and I were on the same baseball team, and we would talk about math the whole time. And for some reason, our teacher was showing us how to do this. We had to learn how to add numbers where you carry. All right, so 7 plus 2 is 9, 10, 14. So can anybody tell me the answer to that? I think I already heard it. I did, 54. Who got that so quick? Wow, that was very cool. I'll quiz you later. All right, so let's try this. How did everybody do it when I asked you to add this up? Did you go 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 4 is 14, write down the 4, carry the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the 1 is 5. Is that how you do it? Worst way to add. Absolutely the worst way to add those 4 numbers together, and yet we teach every kid on the planet to do that. I got really lucky that day because I was not paying attention to my teacher. I didn't hear that we had to add these numbers up from the right and then carry and all that stuff. I did not hear a word. And she saw me not paying attention. She said, Scott, why don't you come on up and do this problem for us? I was totally busted. I'm walking up to the front of the room thinking, I already hate math. I'm going to hate math even more now when I get done with this. I get up to the board, and for some reason, my brain went backwards. I started over here at the tens. I said, that's a 10, that's a 10, that's a 10, that's a 10. So I started keeping a running total in my head. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 10 is 30, plus 10 is 40. And then I just kept going. 40 plus 7 is 47, plus 2, 49, plus 1, 50, plus 4, 54. And I just wrote down the answer. My teacher was amazed that I got it right because she thought I was not listening. And she said, Scott, how did you get this answer? Where's your carry? You're supposed to put a 1 up here. I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. What's a carry? She goes, you have to start over here and go this way and carry. And I said, I started over here and I went this way. She goes, no, you have to go this way. I said, but I'm faster than you going this way. She said, all right, you do this one. So everybody try this one on your own and see how you do. Just raise your hand when you get the answer. Please don't say it out loud so everybody can experience it. Just raise your hand. All ready? Come on. Keep them up. I want to see who gets it and who's not getting it. Really, what's the answer? Say it. 88. You know what's funny? When I started the show, I added up a whole bunch of 2-digit numbers. I raced the calculator. I beat the calculator. I got it right, the first one. And I stopped the show and I asked all of you, how many of you can do that? And do you remember your reaction? You all started laughing out loud, like that I even asked you. No less wanted to show you how to do it. How many of you got that right? Almost everybody in the room. First try. If you'll practice this for 5 minutes, ask your friends or family to write down some 2-digit numbers, practice adding them up, you'll be able to do this faster in your head than anybody on a calculator. 20, 40, 60, 70, 79, 88. Boom. Start grouping. You're going to be like that. Little kids do this. Little 3rd, 4th, 5th graders beating their teachers, punching the numbers into the calculator. So when I asked you if you could do that and you all started laughing, you didn't think you could do it. And now you know how easy it is and you can do it. Here's my next question to you. What else can you do that you didn't think you could do? What limits do we put on ourselves? What limits are we putting on our kids? With our education system and our mentality in society, how we think like this limits our brain activity, limits our potential. It doesn't allow us to reach our potential. So this was an accident that happened to me in 4th grade that changed my life, because from that point forward, I would always look for an easier way to get the answer. When we started learning division, multiplication, all these things, I would look for easier ways to get the answer. Just give you one more example because I want to move on to something else, is multiplication. What's 7 times 7? 9 times 9. 12 times 12. No math. You have all memorized those questions. Not one person in this room calculated anything. You all memorized this stuff. We teach our kids to memorize their math. 7 plus 7, 9 times 9. These are all memorized. They're not learning it. They're memorizing it so they get the passing grade. Teacher gets paid. The parents are happy. And then they wake up in algebra and go, what happened? What's going on? You know, there's no understanding of basic arithmetic. So I just want to show you one more thing that happened to me. What's 7 times 11? 4 times 11? 11 is a magic number. I was 11 years old when I noticed this, so it really got my attention. Here's how we do arithmetic. 24 times 11. Not just in America, but around the world. We teach kids to go like this. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Don't forget the 0 where it's all wrong. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. You add these all together. Is that how you guys multiply? Worst way to multiply. All right, so let me show you the fastest way. There's 6 ways to multiply numbers together, but we only teach one, the worst one, by the way. It literally is a trick. But I can't get into all those today, but I just want to show you this one about the number 11, because I was 11 when I noticed this. But watch how easy 11 is. Any number times 11.